The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What time is it?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Undisputed Era has arrived.
You have the 25 days of Christmas. Impact's going to have the 25 days of releases.
I send it you to deletion! Yeah!
It's hashtag Alpha versus Omega.
Let's just say hashtag aroused.
No, you're going to step in that ring and you're going to be looking at me eye to eye and you're going to realize you ain't got a chance.
Thank God we don't have to talk about it anymore because she got that cancer out of there.
Sean stole my answer. I'm just glad we don't have to talk about this anymore.
And that's not an insult. That is just a fact of life.
All kidding aside, it's still surreal. Back in January when they asked me, it's like, they said, we'd like for you to go in and there's a long pause. And I'm like, are you waiting on a yes or a maybe or something like that? Of course. Because it's still surreal to me. Out of all the guys who've laced up their boots, there's less than 200 of us that are in the Hall of Fame. So I'm very grateful. I'm very, very humbled. And as I said before on my first interview, this is for my family. My family goes back 3 generations. So I'm the lucky one that got picked from my family to be in the Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the max.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughan, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leazar.
Hello, and I want to make sure you know I am here and I am a go. I am Gary Vaughan, and I am ready to tell you about Wrestling to the Max, guys. That's right. I want to come full energy.
What is happening right now?
Oh, well, see, I thought about starting the show doing Spanish, and then I said, you know what? Hey, I want to do a little rhyme. So here we are. This is Wrestling to the Max, episode 287, part 2. I'm sick of doing boring intros, guys. I want to come in full force like Mojo Rawley does every time he gets a match. Well, darn it, that's not very often. So hopefully I get to do more things than he does. But at least I get to be high energy like him, guys. So here I am, and I am ready to tell you once again, here we are. I am with my good friends, Mr. Sean Garmer.
God, Gary. See, this is what happens when you do a show before midnight.
And Mr. Paul Leazar.
I'm suddenly very awake.
Good.
Right.
Good, guys. Good. So I promise I'm not in any substances or anything else. Sometimes I'll be honest with you guys. I feel like a robot sometimes jumping onto the show. I feel like people are just like, well, let's skip the first 2 minutes of the show so we can just jump into what we want to hear, and that's wrestling. So I wanted to come in with some energy tonight, and I am excited about being here. I really, really am. We've got lots of great stuff to talk about tonight. We are going to be previewing Elimination Chamber. That's right. It is happening this Sunday, so that means we're going to do a preview tonight. I'm so excited about talking about, well, what they have at least for us right now until we actually get to that show. We get to speculate a little bit about what could happen because there's only like 4 matches confirmed. But we'll also be talking about some other great things and quick hits. There's some really interesting news. So we got that. Plus, we are going to also give you some Honor Rising talk. That's right. Sean and Paul are going to get into whatever they find is most appropriate for that. So be ready for that. Plus, Paul and I will break down Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling for you guys. And then we're going to crown a Superstar of the Week. So we've got a lot of stuff to do tonight, guys. I'm excited about being here with you. Once again, we are doing a little bit new format, so don't be shocked and fall off your chair if you hear us do things just a little bit different tonight. I kind of talked about this on Tuesday morning show. We've evaluated our show. We've tried to evolve it, not only just because of our personal lives, that has a lot to do with it, but because we feel it makes the show better. And the way we've talked about it off air makes me very happy. I can't wait to do the new format. So that's what we're going to do. So don't email us and say, why did you not get into this, and that? Just understand we're doing this and we're going to do it, and you just got to give it a chance. So Well, guys, I mean, are you guys ready to talk Elimination Chamber? I am. So let's go ahead and do that.
Let's do it. Go for it, buddy.
All right. Well, like I said before, there's only some confirmed things down here. So let's start out with a hot thing first. Why not? The men's elimination chamber. This is going to be a lot of fun because there's a lot of guys involved in this match. You're going to have some big names, of course. You're going to have the normal ones, Braun Strowman. You're also going to have Elias, Finn Balor, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and you can't forget about The Miz. All these guys are going to be out there. It's going to be hard-hitting. It's one of those matches that take a lot out of these guys, but whoever wins is going to get a big shot here. So what do you guys think, and who do you got here, Paul?
I mean, the winner here is Roman Reigns. There's very, very little doubt in that, too. The interesting part is how they're going to get Braun out without making him look any weaker. How are they going to keep telling the stories that they have been across all these guys? Finn Balor and The Miz had some interaction in that gauntlet match that's sort of setting them up for something, I feel. Seth sort of getting shoehorned in here. How are they going to work a seventh guy? Like, there's a lot of other, I think, intriguing threads to follow other than who's going to win, because I feel like that's just plain obvious.
Yeah, Roman Reigns is the obvious choice here. The big dog going to eat, and he going to take his bone all the way to WrestleMania. That's how this is going to work. And, I think we all, and not me, because Raw's been good lately, but for some reason, we all forgot that this show was existing on Sunday. And we had to remember, 10 minutes before. So something is wrong here that we did not, have this totally on the brain. But, I guess we can also blame, working and lack of sleep to that too. But yeah, Paul brought up the whole thing about all the other stories in this match, right? And we already know, unless they make a bunch of matches at the last minute, which, WWE likes doing, we could have both these Chambers matches last a long time. Mm-hmm. They could go 45 minutes, an hour, so they might have to drag this out a little bit, and adding that seventh guy might be a reason to have that happen. It's going to be interesting, where Seth Rollins lands in here, because he's kind of been thrown in there because of what happened to Jason Jordan. So does he last a while and one of the final three or something, or does he get eliminated quickly because he wasn't really part of the original story? That's something that they have to decide, but I hope it's really good.
Yeah, I do too, and I think most people are looking at this and saying to themselves, wow, there's a lot of guys in this match that, we really like or we want to see win, but we really just know Roman Reigns is going to get the victory. But wouldn't it be something if Seth Rollins won that match? Wouldn't it be something that really changed the scope of things? I don't think it's going to happen. I think Elias has a better chance than Seth Rollins at this point, because Vince has got his mindset, I think, for what we're all talking about, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. But if not, the other favorite of, Elias would be probably more in line. I would love it, though. I think Seth Rollins winning this match, going to WrestleMania, wins the belt off Brock Lesnar, and then the next night, it's not the situation we're going to get to later. It's a different feud that, would make a lot more sense, maybe, but who knows. So I'm with you guys. I'm voting up with Mr. Roman Reigns winning this match. But, once again, I would love a huge surprise. It would make me more happy than none to have that. Well, let's jump into the other Elimination Chamber match. Why not? Let's talk about the Women's Elimination Chamber. Now, this one is going to be a big deal, too. So let's get into who is going to be involved. Now, we're going to actually have the champion involved, Alexa Bliss. She'll be defending that title against Bayley, Mandy Rose, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Sonya Deville. So they're all going to be in this match. And Alexa's going to have to be in there and try to keep her title. Do you think, Sean, she has that opportunity?
She definitely has the opportunity, but I feel like this is kind of built for Sasha to win, or at least she's going to be contending for that. I think everybody else is kind of here. It's also going to be interesting what happens with Bayley here. Is just that, the moment where they finally, snap. or have that moment where maybe we ain't friends no more or something. And I'm looking for who's going to be that breakout person of the sort of younger crew. You know, are we really going to see like Mandy Rose have a big moment or Sonya Deville? Going to be interesting for sure what happens here, but I'm going to go with Sasha.
Yeah, this is basically a match with pairs in it, right? We saw Alexa Bliss and Mickie James renew their friendship again at the end of the latest episode of Raw. Sasha and Bayley obviously have had their relationship on the rocks, but they still seem like they're buds. And of course, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are still Absolution. So I think you're going to get a lot of teamwork and all of that sort of playing into stuff that you're going to get here. I like Mandy to be the breakout here just because I loved her during the Mixed Match Challenge with Goldust, and I think there's a lot to expand upon with her going forward. I don't... You had all this build-up between Asuka and Alexa, and for them to sort of toss it out the window at the end seems a little too far-fetched for me. I don't know. I'm going to hedge my bets with Alexa here and say she manages to walk out of here somehow, some way with the title, because that's just a total WWE move to do as well. But I think I'd rather see that payoff, and especially, I mean, Asuka murdering Alexa at WrestleMania could be really fun too. So.
Yeah, I think you both have valid points, and I'm really still having trouble right now at the moment as we speak to really decide on who I really feel like is going to win this match. But I think there is a lot of storyline going to be involved, and I think really at the end of the day, for the next match we're going to talk about is why I kind of feel like there could be some variations, but Alexa Bliss, I think, is going to find a way to do it. I think she just is going to sneak out the victory and come out, and then we're going to have some other things take place post this match. So, but I mean, let's be honest, Sasha Banks winning would be a big deal. They've kind of honestly had a lot of momentum behind her. They've really showcased her in a lot of these different, video packages, a lot of the ways that they've been presenting her on Raw. So I think that's a strong proponent to win this Elimination Chamber. I still feel Alexa is going to get the victory. So, all that is going to round out to what WrestleMania 34 is going to have, and that's, of course, that Raw Women's title up for grabs. And when that happens, who's going to be in that match? Well, Asuka's going to be in it for sure, but guess who could also be involved? Nia Jax. Why? Because if Nia Jax beats Asuka this Sunday at Elimination Chamber, she gets added to that match at WrestleMania. That's the big question. Is she going to get that victory? I don't know, Paul. I don't know if she does or not. It's still kind of hard for me to judge.
I wouldn't throw out the possibility that this could be a thing, just because I feel like if it's Asuka and Alexa straight up one-on-one, I think that gives it away, right? Asuka's going to win pretty handily. I think if you throw Nia Jax in, it sort of capitalizes on the other part of this feud that they've been building, and that's not only Alexa and Nia's sort of rocky relationship, but Asuka and Nia's, interactions up to this point as well. So I wouldn't be shocked if Nia wins. I don't think it would be clean, though, right? You can't have Asuka take a pinfall or submission ahead of WrestleMania, so maybe it's a DQ or a count out or something like that. If Nia does win, but I mean, you can't bet against Asuka, and I'm not gonna. So I think Asuka manages to pull this out.
I'm gonna say Asuka as well. I think it would be some kind of crazy story for Nia Jax to win because Asuka's beaten Nia Jax a lot, even if you go back to the NXT days. So Nia Jax has the thing where it's like Asuka's got her number. And, if they could tell that story, and it would be great, but what a way to waste it on an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. It would be just like WWE to do something like that. We've seen them try to pull the shock before. Just hope they don't do that and wait for a bigger moment. And I can't see Asuka losing here unless it's by something like Paul said, but you can't go against Asuka.
Yeah, that's true. And, the one thing also we have to put in perspective of here of, Asuka losing, also the undefeated streak and all that. Sure, you could do count out or whatever, but, her losing clean against Nia Jax, just don't see that happening. They're probably saying that for Ronda Rousey. And let's just be honest, that seems more likely than none. So I think Asuka too. I think we're going to have a hat trick on that. That's okay. Let's talk about some of these matches. Maybe not so fair. One of them are going to be confirmed as Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. Which, guys, I love Matt Hardy. I love the whole Woken thing, but it's not really all that hot right now. And I don't know how excited I am about seeing these guys do anything right now, unless it's something way out of this world. I'm going to go ahead and throw my thought process out there. I'm just going to give Matt Hardy the victory here in this matchup, but I don't know that I'm really excited, Sean. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm kind of the same way. It's like they've really been going at it for a while. They're going to have to really put something out there in order to reignite this at all. You know, they need to have that Randy Orton burning down the house moment, literally, or something, for this to have some kind of big interest. I'm going to go with Matt Hardy, though.
I definitely think you have to go with Matt Hardy here, too, especially after taking the loss at Raw 25 to Bray, which basically, to me, just killed any interest in this feud to have him hook up that early. Not to mention they've been very much suttered to the side more often than not on Raw as well, too. So not a lot of interest for me either, but Matt Hardy wins, and I agree. They need to do something to get this character and this story back going in the right direction, because we've seen it work, and gosh, I want to see it work on the big stage too.
Yeah, God, I know. And let's just say this: if they have this match and it's just a clunker, just take them off TV for a while. I don't care if they don't come back until WrestleMania. Just take them off TV, and then all of a sudden do something ridiculous. I mean, I don't care if it's just Matt Hardy and Jeff coming out and doing something just stupid, like taking a camel to the ring at WrestleMania and then talking to it. Do that compared to giving me more Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. I don't need it. So
I'd mark, by the way, if they talk to a camel mid WrestleMania.
That'd be great.
Oh, that would be great. All right. Well, before we jump into the Ronda Rousey contract signing, I just want to mention these rumored matches that could be happening. We'll just quickly go through this. The Bar could be defending their titles against Titus Worldwide, not confirmed, just a possibility. I'm going to say the Bar wins. You guys?
Duh.
Yeah, it's got to be the Bar.
It's Titus Worldwide. Like, did they ever do anything?
They've beaten the Bar 3 times on Raw.
I mean, I'm just saying when it matters, you know. They can beat him 3 times on Raw because they're trying to establish him, which is smart, but it's just, you know.
Exactly.
Like, it'll probably, like, clown him at the worst moment.
No, I'm right there with you. It's just silly. So, yeah, the Bar for all of us. Gallows and Anderson taking on the Revival.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go Revival again, right? I feel like they're being built up. Even if they're heels, I think you could put them really against anybody. They're probably going to get booed. So as much as I love Gallows and Anderson, it's just I think they're trying to rebuild the Revival pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go with the Revival, too.
All right. Well, there you go. Also really quickly, the Cruiserweights could be having a match. We don't know. Just a rumor. So if that happens, it happens, and we'll talk about it later on.
Cruiserweights have a match.
Yeah. Let's see. They may not. That's the big thing with them lately.
Would they let them have the matches they're having in the tournament? Probably not.
Maybe on the pre-show.
True.
It'd be appreciated if they let them do what they're doing now. So. Ronda Rousey signing her contract at Elimination Chamber. It's really neat. But I think whatever happens here is really going to definitely be pointing to what happens at WrestleMania 34. Yep. I mean, there could be array of situations. A lot of people are pointing to Stephanie McMahon kind of coming out and getting a little rift between the two. How do you feel like this is going to all shake out, Sean?
Well, it depends, right? What they're going to do. As far as what match, if they're going to do The Rock and her and Triple H and Stephanie, then it would make sense for Stephanie to come out. If they're going to do her and Asuka, what you guys think this main events?
I don't. I think the men's chamber is still main events no matter what.
I mean, as long as it's after the Asuka match, you could have Asuka come out. I get, a lot of people want to see her and Charlotte. They could have her show up. There's plenty that they could have happen here, or they could just have nobody show up. Wait for that to happen on Raw. So,
I mean, we know she's going to be assigned to Raw as of the contract signing. That's where she's signing to. So you have all of that in play, I think, as well. There's also been training videos of her popping up of her and Shayna Baszler working in a wrestling ring together, which is kind of interesting, too. So, I still think they're going mixed tag idea. Who her partner's going to be seemingly is back up in the air, since the Rock is sort of had his chances lessened as far as I'm aware, just because of his schedule in Hollywood, and all that stuff having their say in it. I really like the idea of Ronda teaming up with Braun Strowman personally, just because I think it puts a very big spotlight on Braun, and he deserves that much, at least if he's not going to be challenging for the title.
Would be interesting.
The only weird reason I have a little fear on that is that, Triple H is involved in that. That means that Triple H is going to pin Braun Strowman. So
that's not how WrestleMania has worked for a long time, Gary, and you know it.
That's not necessarily true. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just going to be one of those things that we're going to be excited about coming up. just to see what will be post Elimination Chamber heading into WrestleMania with this whole Ronda Rousey situation. But yeah, I don't know. Braun would be great. The Rock is the Rock. People would flock to this WrestleMania if he's involved. But I just have a feeling it's going to be something a little bit less underwhelming, unless they really, really surprise us. Maybe Jeff Jarrett joins that process.
Oh, dear sweet mother of God.
Oh, God. Hey, they could have the great MMA fighter and then the not so great MMA fighter in CM Punk. You could.
Oh yeah. Oh, no.
Maybe when hell freezes over, Sean.
Yeah.
I think Riddle comes and is involved before CM Punk, but I'd be okay with whatever happens. But yeah, there you go. Well, that is the Elimination Chamber for all of you. We, of course, we'll be doing a post-WrestleMania. Oh my God, I'm already fast forward. Post-Elimination Chamber. You guys got me focused on Mania. Man.
Gary is thinking a month ahead already.
Is it April already? God. No, okay. So anyway, we'll be doing a post-Elimination Chamber show. So don't forget to come check that out. Of course, we'll be getting to everything that does happen on that show. I know we threw out a lot of possibilities, but whatever really does happen and is concrete, we'll be reviewing. So come check out that show Monday morning on your drive to work. Hopefully we will have that ready for you guys to listen to. And the way you go find that is W2Mnet.com. It's the place where you go find all our great wrestling podcasts. Of course, all of the Wrestling the Max content, plus every single other wrestling podcast we have there, which is a lot of fun to listen to. So many great friends out there in the world of wrestling that we have. So the W2M Network just offers everything that you can think of, not only just wrestling, video games, also sports, and of course entertainment. Don't forget to go check out that, subscribe, rate, and review over at, like our normal shows, Wrestling the Max, and of course the W2M Network. And once you do that, of course, we get your feedback and we appreciate it. And also it kind of helps us out with those 5 stars you give us. And we want to give some big props to 411mania.com and LastRealProWrestling.com too. They're great sites as well. Well, now we are going to be jumping into some quick hits. So let's go ahead and talk wrestling news now.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
Fire away, Gary.
All right. Well, the first thing we're going to be talking about is Jeff Jarrett. I know I love just mentioning his name as much as I can, right? I know. I hear you. I hear your groans. But we have to mention this because Sports Illustrated recently had an article talking a little bit about why Jeff Jarrett got into the Hall of Fame. And what they're saying is that Triple H had a lot to do with it. That Triple H was really pushing for Jeff Jarrett to be a part of this year's class. Apparently, too, what we're getting is that when Jeremy Borash was signed on to WWE, it wasn't long before these discussions really started getting heated up. And also, there were some rumors about Jeff Jarrett maybe possibly joining the NXT developmental team. So those are some speculations, some things that are just really kind of thrown out there. I don't know how real they are, how true. But, Paul, after hearing this, what do you think of it?
It's not, I think, all that surprising to anybody to hear that Triple H is the one behind this, right? He's the one who has really gone all out as far as trying to mend fences and fix down burnt bridges and whatever other, metaphor you want to throw out there for somebody leaving on bad terms. But, the Jeremy Borash hiring sort of makes sense. And if this ends up with Jarrett somehow involved in NXT, because there's a lot of rumors going around that Triple H is trying to get that all set up for when he takes over for the main roster in WWE, which, Vince and football has been a big thing recently, so no surprises there either. For all of Jeff Jarrett's work to come around full circle to him in NXT is kind of neat, right? I mean, so many of the people that were sort of, I guess, quote unquote, made in TNA, even though there's an argument that they made their names elsewhere as well. He certainly did have a hand in putting a lot of the top talent that's in WWE right now over first.
Oh God, as long as we don't get Attitude Era booking in NXT, then we're good, right? Like, all the heels are going to suck now. None of them are going to ever win clean because Jeff Jarrett is booking. So I kid, but that could happen. That could happen if Triple H doesn't have time to sit there and pay attention to what's going on in NXT, and he has to go full main roster. Hopefully, he has somebody like a Regal or somebody watching Jarrett, and it's not the Jarrett show because, oh Lord, that can go down quickly. But it doesn't surprise me at all that Jarrett is the master at angling for the right place at the right time, the right job, all that stuff. NXT is already yellow. He could even get people to go and get NXT gold, and you get that and get your fake gold that will never amount to anything too while he's at it. So, like, I could see him he has that shirt there, and it's, hey, for all you people that were fans of GFW where it never lasted, it's cool. It's not a bad thing at all. Jarrett has a great wrestling mind. It's just, he is a guy that you kind of need to have somebody with him to, like, tone him down a bit.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I really don't think that he's going to get such a major role, that he's going to have so much influence that NXT is going to majorly change. Let's be honest, Triple H has really nurtured NXT for a long time, and he's going to get really busy with the main brands really, really soon. So he's not going to have a lot of opportunities to do that nurturing, but I think he's still going to keep a close eye on what's happening in NXT. And I think when it comes to bringing in Jeff Jarrett, if that happens, that's not even a guarantee. This is all rumor. This is all speculation. But if it does happen, I don't see Jeff Jarrett having such a big influence that things are going to completely change. I think that he's going to have a voice. I think his mind is definitely going to be getting used and picked and really kind of, be a great asset to that team of developmental writers and creators for that brand. So I'm looking forward to it if he does join. But if you're right, Sean, you make some good points. If he was to have more control, I would be really terrified. I just would. I'm sorry. But I'm once again, we talked about this.
As long as nobody uses a beer bottle or a guitar.
Yeah.
Surprised Karen Jarrett showing up on NXT didn't come up from you, Gary.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you brought it up.
Why?
Now you're the one. No, I almost did, but I feel like I've kind of killed that. So we'll see. I probably will bring it up again at the Hall of Fame.
You will get grown any faster than mentioning Karen Jarrett.
Yeah.
It's awful.
I just rather, when he's inducted at the Hall of Fame, I really just hope it's Slapnuts sitting at a podium. Just sitting there, and then they're like, have Jeff Jarrett walk out. Oh, here I am.
I hope Triple H just says, your wife cannot enter this building. Good.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine her screaming outside the door? I brought this whole thing to fruition. I'm the reason you guys are in business. Anyway.
Oh, God. I can't wait to see her at the Hall of Fame. And she's on the red carpet, and you can hear her like a mile away talk.
Thank you. Yes, I am Jeff. I brought him to this company. I brought him everywhere. So anyway, Angle's over there embarrassed. But anyway, let's
Angle's over there like, thank God I'm not with that woman anymore.
Very, very true. Well, talking about the Hall of Fame, which also means WrestleMania is right there, and we got some information that's kind of interesting to me. The Louisiana Boxing and Wrestling Commission has let WB know right ahead of time they are not allowed to have blood or pile drivers at WrestleMania this year, which includes also the other NXT event and anything else that WWE does. I mean, I really don't know that this really hinders anything, but, you know, it is something regulation, and it's something I think should at least be brought up here, Sean. I mean,
well, the indie events are going to be affected a lot more.
Yeah, you're right.
By this, if they wanted to do that. So, like, you know, if you were planning on having a death match or something like that, or some kind of hardcore match, well, you better be careful, because you bleed, you'll be seeing some green coming out of somebody's pocket. You know, that I'm sure those promoters don't want to lose. And the pile, you know, at least we know we're not going to see Jerry Lawler wrestling.
Yeah.
On WrestleMania then, because no pile driver for him. But
what about the Taker, though? Well, you know, let's just say Undertaker's back. I mean, so he can't do his.
Can they define pile driver? Like, maybe they just mean the regular pile driver and not Tombstone.
Maybe they should have the NFL come and define pile driver for them.
Oh God!
Oh Lord!
We won't know what a wrestling move is anymore by the time they're done.
We'll get 20 explanations for.
You have to make a wrestling move to win the championship.
Did he actually fall down with the head?
Does he have control?
Yes. Did he complete the process of the move?
Yeah.
We need to just have a football bash show at this point.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have a line out the door if people want to be on that show, Sean. Anyway,
well, once the XFL happens, maybe that'll just do it for itself.
Maybe so. I think this has a bigger effect on the indie shows, especially with some of the various promotions that are going to, like CZW has a show that weekend. A little bit of what they're known for is some bleeding. So I just think depending on the promotion, depending on who you are, this could have an effect on you more so than anything WWE is going to do, right? But I mean, accidents happen. What happens if somebody gets cut open the hard way? Like, is that money out your pocket now?
So do they have a commission person at each one of these shows, I'm guessing, to know that happened? Because, unless you have tattletales, how are you supposed to... I'm sure there will be those that want to do that, because there's
everybody
always that.
and their mother's streaming now. I mean, it's not going to be... a guy can watch from home. Oh, that's a fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Just sitting at home with a notepad.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw the blood there.
Oh,
yeah.
They did it 3 times. They're now banned from New Orleans.
That's right. Golly. So just note to self, if you are in New Orleans, repair shop for weed whackers, you can put them away, because CZW's not going to use them. Well, that's, it's something interesting. I just wanted to bring that up. Something else I really quickly want to bring up here is we're still getting rumors about WWE and Dean Ambrose and post WrestleMania, and what we're getting is still the same old story about him turning heel and feuding with Roman Reigns. And if Roman Reigns comes out of that show as the Universal Champion, that means that Ambrose is going to be his feuding partner in that situation. And I don't know about you guys, but as I'm still hearing this news, I'm still underwhelmed. I don't know. I love Dean Ambrose and all. I just don't know that I love this feud right off the bat here, Paul.
You mean Roman Reigns there, not Ambrose winning the title after WrestleMania.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that would be awesome if Ambrose had a way to get in. Then I'd be on board. Then I would be game. But yeah, you're right.
One-armed Dean Ambrose. Yeah, it'd be... I think this is interesting. I think time away from TV is going to do Ambrose a lot of good. It's going to help him feel fresher when he comes back, and if he's back as a heel trying to basically one-up his former Shield mate, which is, this is really the one feud we still haven't really gotten yet from these two, I think they do well together, so I'd kind of be for this.
Yeah, I'd be for this. Let's do it. I have no problem with that. It's been a while for Ambrose to really be heel. I think that's where he does his best work. Mm-hmm. And, maybe he can really mean that lunatic fringe that I'm sure Michael Cole is dying to use 20 times. So
It's not the Ambrose being healed thing that bothers me, because I actually kind of like that in a way. But the thing that really bothers me is, what are they going to do? Right after WrestleMania, they're going to slow burn it where, they're all friends, the Shield's back together, and then, oh, wow, I don't know, chair then is in Ambrose's hands, and he turns on Rollins and Reigns. I don't know that I want to see that again. I just think that they got to do it quick. Like, maybe the night after WrestleMania, here comes Ambrose. He's like buddies with Reigns. He's helping out, really celebrating, and then he attacks him.
Oh, he'll get so many big cheers.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be deafening in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Ambrose is still going to be out for a while after Mania, as far as I'm aware. Like, his injury recovery time was, 6 months? And they took him off TV late January, so there's going to be some time still after WrestleMania for Reigns to settle into his title reign, assumingly he wins. So yeah, I have a little faith that they could pull this off, at least in a decent direction, to where it feels fresher than just rehashing how they broke up the first time.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I really do. And if we do have that breathing room post WrestleMania, that means it makes me a little bit less nervous, because I cannot remember how long. So with that information, I feel a little bit better. But I just hope it matters, and I hope it's not the rehash thing. So, let's just be honest. This really sucks, and I hate to say it, but we have another injury to talk about, and it's with a guy that a lot of us are really in favor of, and that's Evil. I mean, Paul, why don't you tell us a little bit about this injury? This really sucks.
So during New Japan's tour in Australia over this past weekend, Evil sustained a broken left orbital bone, which of course is the bones around your eye that both I have had broken, as well as Austin Aries. Fun fact. So he's going to miss the 46th anniversary show on March 6th, and can miss up to 3 months of time. So no New Japan Cup for him, and it also kind of puts the tag titles in limbo. This is kind of a big deal for New Japan. Obviously not one of their top guys, but certainly somebody who they had been pushing pretty well.
Yeah, he could have been major in the New Japan Cup. We don't know, so that puts him out of there. And obviously, what do you do with the tag titles now? Do you maybe push Bushi up and just keep it together and make a slight change, saying, well, they're in the same stable, we're going to have to just let this, the junior be in the heavyweight tag thing for a little bit, or so what they decide to do. I think that would be cool. I'd like to see that happen. Hopefully, Geto has that idea and not just have Sonata lose it. Like we see a lot of times when one tag partner gets injured, the other one suffers for it. This is bummed. Evil is one of the better guys better younger guys they have, and it sucks to see this happen to him. All these people breaking orbital bones, man.
Mm-hmm.
And wrestling, got Michael Elgin too, and I can't forget the Naomi one that plagued her. So, jeez.
Yeah, it's a really a big shame, and you're right, Sean. I mean, this is becoming something that's happening more consistently, and that trend is not a fun trend for these guys and gals. I hate
you do have a lot of moves where you fall on your face, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can get kicked or punched in the face on accident.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's very true, and it's just one of those. You just have to deal with it. There's no really way around it. So, but I hate that for Evil. I really do. He has a lot of momentum, got a lot of things going good, and then this happens. So we'll have to just hope for the best for him in the future. Let's talk about something else that's pretty crazy here in the world of wrestling, especially in the indies, and that's Joey Ryan buying this, I believe it's a $500,000 house. I mean, Sean, this is like he's rubbing it in all those guys at WWE's face. I think that's what he's trying to do.
He certainly is. So that picture is burned in my mind. Thank you, Gary, for that.
You love it, don't you? You just love
it. I'm sure Triple H is just going, man, that's what I wanted today. but honestly, I think this is cool, right? I mean, it shows, the penis power. It'll be able to pay for $530,000 house or whatever. So.
Oh boy, it's funnier because I brought up People Power on the Monday show. So, I think this is cool, right? I mean, Joey Ryan obviously has some extracurricular sponsorships working in his favor too, but Sports Illustrated did an article where he very graciously thanked all the fans of independent wrestling for making this possible, and it does go to show you. I just think how strong sort of working the indies is right now, how much an option it is. Obviously, he's one of the more top tier talents on the scene right now, but still, like, if you can make it there, there's some good living ahead of you. Just look at Joey Ryan, the Young Bucks. I'm sure there's a lot of other people at the top right now who are doing pretty well for themselves that are less showy about it, but still.
I mean, I think it also shows he was able to be in a position where he's saving money, right? So that helps too. Does he have kids?
He just got married 2 years ago, I think. I don't know if they've had kids yet or not.
See, that helps a lot. When you don't have kids, you can save a lot more money. Whereas, like the Young Bucks, man, they gotta put that dough back where it goes and make sure they're making a lot of it. Yeah. So, but that's great. That's great for Jarrett. Now you can really start something with your big house you got.
Yeah, he's got a big house and a big we'll lay off that.
Oh God.
Sorry.
I knew he was gonna go.
Yeah, but nonetheless, I mean, it is really, really good for him, and I'm glad that he can do that. I have no animosity towards that at all. That's really, really awesome for him. The only other thing I will say is, it's great that he can spend that much money in a house, but from what I've always heard from legends, from wrestlers back in the day, they always say, save your money, save your money. And for a big purchase like that, I'm like, wow, I mean, that's not really saving your money, but that's okay. I mean, he dared to each his own. So let's hope that he's
really
okay.
Tell Gary has big on the brain.
Yeah, I do, man. Of course, that usually happens every time I go to the restroom anyway. So anyway, let's talk about Velveteen Dream, and he's not in favor of those indie guys, Paul.
Yeah, so he came out on Twitter recently and had this big barrage about how he's sick of indie guys coming into NXT and, quote, taking spots from homegrown talent like himself, which I hate to tell you, Dream, you came from the indies first, right? I mean, you're not a performance center product, so...
Yeah.
Any rate, a lot of people think this is a work, but I think it's an interesting topic just because this is a pretty common thing that if you're paying attention to NXT and you know something about the independent scene, he's not wrong, at least about the indie guys part, except, he's one of those guys.
Right. Yeah, he's a guy that is taking spots, from people as well, because they like his gimmick, and to his credit, he's really made himself into something. He had terrible gimmicks before, so I think that's why this is a work, right? Like, the dude has been able to be tremendous for a lot of this year, and I don't think he really cares about all that stuff. Like, he knows where his niche is. He knows he's got something. The crowd likes him. I mean, that's going to show through, and he's eventually he's got a gimmick that we don't know how much time, depending on how much, XFL takes off, how much Vince is going to be involved in the future. But even then, this means Triple H selects you. So when you go to the main roster, you can blend in a lot easier. And, I just like the people on, not to say that it never happens to us, 'cause I think it's happened to everyone over the how many years we've done the show, it's happened to us reporting things on here or saying things on here. Everybody, this happens to, but I just love the Twitter verse. Like, I'm working myself into a shoot and work and shoot and shoot. Like, it's just like, stop, people. Just enjoy what's happening.
It's true. So I just, right now Velveteen Dream has it going on, and the Twitter stuff, just everything that he does, it's just a lot of fun. And I'm encouraged by it because it means that this guy really, has kind of learned a lot of things already in his early development in NXT. And, I think there's going to be some big things coming in the future for him because of the fact that he already knows how to work the system and work the crowd and play this game and fairly well already. Mm-hmm. So I just, love Velveteen Dream. One last thing before we get out of here, I've got to mention this, and it was something that I think it's got some credence here too. James Ellsworth this week has revealed his Intergender Championship belt. Not a bad idea, actually. That's a kind of a cool thing. I never really expected this to come out, but I mean, Sean, this guy could definitely carry that belt around the indies, and he's going to, of course, have intergender matches.
We haven't had Andy Kaufman in a long time, so James Ellsworth is kind of that guy. He could probably pull that off. He's got the charisma. He's people like him. People don't like him. He has the size to get beat up by both men and women, so it's believable either way. It's fun. He's James Ellsworth. Mm-hmm. Seen how puny he is. I think this is funny. I think this is great. I'm glad James Ellsworth is still in the wrestling and doing fun stuff still. That's
Yeah. He's going out there and doing what he sort of made his name for at the end of his WWE run, which I can appreciate. A title belt like this certainly does add a nice gimmick to everything he's doing. And honest to God, as much as an eyesore as the strap is, since it's half pink and half blue, the plates actually look pretty darn good. So,
yeah, it definitely does. It's like a cartoon meets as a wrestling belt. No, actually, babies are.
It's like the wrestling belt's trying to go to a baby shower.
Yeah,
exactly. There you
go. Can't figure it out.
I already thought that Babies R Us, they could definitely sell this belt and be successful. So,
could you imagine?
I know. Hey, I'd get it for my kids.
Here's the newest accessory.
Yeah.
With James Ellsworth's ugly face on it too.
Oh boy.
No chin. No, don't worry. You don't have to put that in, kids. But yeah. No, there you go. I think it's cool news, and I'm really happy for James Ellsworth, and I can't wait to see what comes out of this. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, well, there you go, guys. That's Quick Hits. That's all we have, at least this week, for wrestling news. But now we are going to move on, and we're going to do a little bit of New Japan and Ring of Honor talk. That's right. Honor Rising is coming up. So Paul and Sean are going to be getting into that right after this, guys.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
All right, so you got 2 nights of action coming at you this weekend, I believe, both Saturday and Sunday, both from Kirk Hall, both being streamed on New Japan World, so you're not going to miss any of this action. Night 1, basically a prelude here. You have your 2 big matches. Goto defending the Never Openweight title against the Beer City Bruiser, of all people, Sean. And of course, your main event is the Golden Lovers and Chase Owens taking on Marty Scurll, Hangman Page, and Cody. There's some other interesting stuff on this card too. Kushida, Flip Gordon, Hiromu Takahashi, probably a must-watch as well. That's going to be incredible. Yes. And then, of course, you have on both nights Cheeseburger Delirious and Liger teaming up, which you know is going to be great fun as well.
And you got Philly and Juice against the Young Bucks. That could be some fun, too. So, good matches. Yeah, that triple threat with Flip and Kushida and Hiromu is going to be, hopefully it's going to be rocking the house. You get some Taguchi and Dalton Castle being together action. That's going to be some fun stuff. Goto and the Beer City Bruiser should be interesting. Is the Bruiser going to be trying to hit Goto, and Goto's just like, I'm not having none of
that. I mean, Bruiser is not a good singles wrestler, in my opinion. He's great in multi-man matches. I think that's his strong suit. But by himself, Goto's got a long night ahead of him. Not in a good way.
But Goto can do it. He can carry them to those 3 stars or something at least. And everybody wants to see the Golden Lovers together. Chase Owens is he's certainly the three's a crowd here in this match. I think people would almost want to see a handicap match happening. And but yeah, Chase Owens getting out of here, I think is add some fun in here, and Marty always brings fun stuff to these matches. Cody and Omega get to keep going with their thing. This should have a lot of fireworks going on.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of what everybody's been looking forward to as far as, wrestling, Twitter, and Facebook and all that goes, is that as great as New Japan has been, this has sort of taken everybody's imagination and ran with it. So what are people, all these divided factions in the Bullet Club going to start doing when they start running into each other like this is going to be interesting. So, honestly, I think that's probably the main driving force behind watching both of these shows, much less, New Japan all the way up into Dominion, I would say.
Too bad it's not happening on Valentine's Day.
What a shame. What a shame. So night 2, your 2 big matches, you got the Golden Lovers teaming up once again to take on just Cody and Marty Scurll, which I'm sure is the one people are probably going to want to watch more. You also have Dalton Castle defending the ROH World title against Trent, or just Beretta, excuse me, about to say his whole name, can't do that. You have the, and then just a bunch of tags up and down the card. Chucky T, Yoshihashi, Jay White against the Hung Bucks. Kind of interesting. Hanare taking on the Beer City Bruiser in the opener. So, Bruiser working both parts of the card here. I think you're watching night 2 for the main events more than the undercard myself, but it could still prove to be a good time.
Bushi and Hiromu against Taguchi and Flip Gordon could be an underrated one. Certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Taguchi bringing in the comedy and then Flip trying to do all the flippies while the other guys are trying to take him down. That should be certainly some fun going on. Yeah, this is a sort of 2-match show that you're looking at, but it could have a fun undercard that you're sort of saying, hey, this was better than I totally thought going in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Honor Rising, like I said, it's this weekend, pretty early in the morning. If you're trying to watch live, if you're not, it's on New Japan World. It's waiting for you once it gets there, so make sure you tune in, especially if you have all these questions about the Bullet Club. Probably going to get a lot of answers.
Yeah, I can't wait, guys. I'm really looking forward to it, and sometime this week to grab onto it. So, yeah, looking forward to that. And, of course, make sure you check out everything when it comes to this whole thing, because it's just so much fun. There's so many great little tidbits you're going to get, and it's going to carry over into Ring of Honor as well if you're a regular Ring of Honor watcher. So, well, that's what we're going to talk about next, actually, Ring of Honor. So why don't we go ahead and jump into that?
Boy, oh boy, what a week on Ring of Honor this week. So, quick look at just the match results here. You have Jay Lethal going over Flip Gordon. In about 15 minutes or so, you have another Women of Honor title match, another Women of Honor title tournament match here. Brandy Rhodes defeating Kieran Q, kind of predictably. And then in the main event, you have the Hung Bucks hanging on to retain those ROH 6-man tag team championships against SoCal Uncensored. After it looks like those guys have won the belts, and I'm talking about SoCal Uncensored, here comes Bully Ray to reveal he's the new enforcer on behalf of Joe Koff and Ring of Honor, since the whole company has kind of become the, quote, Wild West. And so he's here to enforce his brand of justice, Gary, and I like this. I think it's a nice role for him, especially he seems to want to stay involved with the company in a lot of different ways. And, I think the way he went out for Ring of Honor and all that, and the whole promo they did with Lethal, he's going to have a lot of good feelings carrying over into this.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too. And he cut that promo and basically said, "I don't want to be a GM. I don't want to definitely be an authority figure." Mm-hmm. I kind of like all that. He, does say I'm an enforcer, and that's fine. We need variations, and that's okay. I'm glad with that. And I think, let's be honest, Bully Ray is very much a guy that demands respect, demands a lot of people to pay attention to. His legendary status, to the guy that he is, which is, let's be honest, a tough man. So really happy with the idea that they're kind of going with that, not having Joe Koff on all the time. That just doesn't work. Uh-huh. this main event, I mean, it was really, really fun. They did a great job. The only thing I'm going to be very honest with her. I love the Humbug, so I'm a big fan. I do think SoCal Uncensored, though, winning those titles, I really liked it. I like the fact that they finally accomplished that. They really got one over on the team that everybody thought was going to get the victory.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of disappointed, to be honest with you, they lost them that quick. And just, I know it's probably not the right way to look at it, but I kind of wanted SoCal Uncensored to get the victory here.
I think they're sort of saving a lot of what's going to happen when it comes to any variation of the Bullet Club and Ring of Honor for what's going to happen after the whole New Japan stuff dies down. And of course you have Kenny and Cody going one-on-one at Supercard of Honor on WrestleMania weekend too. They're going to want to tease all this out too. So I mean, it kind of looks like the Bucks might still be hanging with Kenny going forward as far as all that goes, but we don't know. So I think they're trying to save as much intrigue and blow-ups and stuff like that for down the road. And I'm fine with this for now, just because I think that they want that moment to be how somebody wins those titles. And if it's SoCal Uncensored, great. If it's somebody else, I think that's okay too.
Yeah, and that's true. And, when I first watched this, I really didn't have my eyes set on the future. I think it was just that momentary reaction. Like, I just really wanted SoCal Uncensored to get the victory. But you make some good points here, and I think now, kind of in retrospect, that makes a lot more sense. So this is fine. I think the main event worked out the way it needed to work out. I'm okay with it. I love the first match with Jay Lethal and Flip Gordon. I think those guys did such a great job. But let's be honest, Paul. How could they not have a great match? Both these guys are amazing.
You crushed it, man. I mean, Flip kind of has a little slip at the end that they play up into the finish, I think, pretty nicely. We also learned that Lethal's getting his world title shot at the 16th anniversary show, and you have Marty show up and throw a fit, and all this stuff. And Lethal's like, hey, man, if I win the belt, you're first up. So you got some movement there as well. But this match, for sure, if you're looking for some good wrestling to watch, Lethal Gordon, totally where it's at, too.
Did a great job of telling a story all the way through.
Absolutely.
I mean, Flip did not lose, even though he lost. Marty Scurll never loses, apparently, because he's here and he's got his title shot no matter what. Because he's already approached with guys that said, I get a chance, right?
Yeah.
Get a chance, huh? So he's pretty set. I mean, he's going to be getting the title shot most likely. Let's see, though. And the one thing that you got to look at here is this one bit of honor matches. They've been putting him here now. I was so much a proponent of that. I'm finally getting it. And it's kind of wild to say this. I think this match was better than last week's, in my opinion, even though it wasn't much better.
Mm-hmm.
You could definitely see Brandy Rose is really working hard to get her craft down. It's not there yet, but she's working at it, and you can tell it wasn't the awful stuff we've seen before. I'm at least happy about that. But you could definitely, in my personal opinion, tell Susie Q was like, here, let me help you. Let me help you. Or Q, whatever her name. Karen Q. Right?
Yeah.
Karen, sorry. Susie Q, that's a song. I love it.
It sure is. I was kind of having the same feelings you were. Brandy, try as she might, is just not there yet. I really like Karen Q, though. She's very talented in the ring, in my opinion. And while she might not have promo skills yet, I think when it comes to in-ring competition, as far as the Women of Honor division goes, you have a lot of younger people still learning their craft, and then you have a couple of breakouts here and there that are sort of pulling you through as far as ring work goes, and Karen's one of them, so I was kind of hoping they would push her through, but they're going with the name. You can't really fault them for that. Brandy, she's got mainstream TV, obviously, with Wags and the last name and all this other stuff, so kind of easy, I guess, to tell where they're going to go from there.
Yeah. You bring up that, and I definitely appreciate that for Ring of Honor getting that opportunity to kind of, use someone that's going to get their name out there for sure, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, like you said, it's Wags and all the other exposure that she has around her. It definitely helps their brand, but you do kind of feel a little, sad for someone like Karen. But you know what? She's going to do fine. She doesn't need this tournament. You just said it. She's got the talent. She's going to be around. So she's got some opportunities down the line. It doesn't have to be right now. So that's what I'm happy about. So let's see what goes forward. I just hope this tournament gets better. I'll be honest with you, Paul. I want it to be better than it is.
There are better matches ahead of us. I should have put this in quick hits too, but we can talk about that here. Mayu Iwatani and HCK's matches, as well as I'm forgetting the other one. The one with Bonesaw Jesse Brooks. She's also facing a person from Stardom whose name is escaping me right now. They're doing both of those matches over in Stardom, so I don't know if they're going to make air over here or if they're just going to clip them, but that is a thing.
Okay. So, and those matches may be way better than what we've gotten here. So let's hope we do see them. Let's just be honest. Let's hope we see them.
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
All right. Well, that rounds out Ring of Honor, what we have for you this week. Now let's jump into some Impact Wrestling, Paul.
Let's do it. All right, so Impact this week, you have the Cult of Lee, which of course Trevor Lee, Caleb Connolly taking on LAX. You have Cult of Lee win in about 15 minutes. Brian Cage comes in, squashes Hunter Law, which was fantastic. Lashley and Eddie Edwards teaming up to take on OVE. Those guys do win that one, Lashley and Eddie Edwards, in about 8 minutes or so. And then you have another number one contenders match here for the whatever championship. I get the top title in Impact, whether it's the world title or a global title, I don't know anymore. But it's their top belt. Johnny Impact beats EC3. A little north of 18 minutes or so. Moonlight Drive, all that good stuff. I really enjoyed this one, honestly. I thought this was the best match on the show. Shocker, no shocker there. But, I mean, Johnny Impact and Austin Aries. Boy, oh boy. Sign me up for that right now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, come on. It can't get any better than that. And, for what we got here, number one contenders match. I mean, I think EC3 and Impact really put on a great performance for what they were doing, right? And the story they were telling, it started out kind of slow and they kind of built it up in a little bit. But I really enjoy these guys working together. But man, you're completely right. Once Impact takes on Austin Aries, it's going to hit another gear. Mm-hmm. It's going to hit another level. And so I am so excited about that. And there's at least some great news when it comes to that, because really, when was the last time you were really super excited about watching an Impact championship match, right? Well, at least when it comes to the heavyweight title, at least, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's doing something for you. At least you got that in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, oh man, but yeah, I mean, I Impact is the right guy, and now with Austin Aries involved, Paul, I mean, it's kind of hard for me because I don't have a problem with the champion now, whereas in the past you're just kind of like, yeah, is that the guy you want representing? Now you're in the quandary of really, I think Impact would have been a great champion for this company, but Aries is doing a fine job.
I think that's sort of how many times can you have Impact challenge for the championship and have them not win it before you just sort of lose faith and credibility and all that stuff in them, right? And I don't know if we've reached that point yet. I mean, all of his matches with Mr. Eli Drake sort of always ended in fishy ways, and that's sort of what kept it going, and then sort of some classic TNA Impact Wrestling anthem, shenanigans that they've become known for over the years, so... I'm kind of hoping for just a really great match between these two. If Impact wins, I think that would be preferable for me, but I got no problem with Aries either.
Mm-hmm. Same here. I just really honestly will be happy to see the match and just be happy someone won. So, and the rest of the show, I mean, Lashley and Eddie Edwards, and, that's a kind of a super team for Impact, right? I mean, they're both really well liked over there. And so them beating OVE is not a huge surprise, really. I mean, OVE is great for what they are, but I mean, you knew with Lashley they were gonna lose. It's kind of same with Brian Cage. That's just a squash match. You're just happy to see Brian Cage in this company, right? They kind of help them along, so no problem with that. And the way they start this whole show, Cult of Lee is, I'm okay with him. It's weird. They have a weird relationship too. I'm going to say that. It's just kind of an odd relationship. I don't know how they're going along with that, but they're fine. They defeated LAX, and it wasn't clean, so it really doesn't hurt LAX at all. But you really don't, once again, know that you're over the moon about this whole feud. But it's okay. It's not terrible. I'll say that. So, but also not a bad way to start their show. I didn't think it was awful or anything. So.
I enjoyed the opener. I think for what it was too. I like Trevor Lee. I'm not a big Caleb Conley guy. I do like LAX still, even though they're sort of a far cry from where they started from. Once again, this is still a fun match. The feud just feels like busy work, though. Cult of Lee, to me, still doesn't have a chance in hell win those tag titles come whatever the next pay-per-view is, Redemption or whatever. So, I don't know about that. A Cage killing people, I'll get behind that all day, every day. The tag match, I enjoyed it. Lashley, Eddie Edwards, they made a fine team. As you said, a super team. So, them winning, I think, was sort of a foregone conclusion, especially because it keeps the angle going, right? These guys get their revenge for OVE doing the beatdown on them, all that great stuff, too. I forgot to mention, too, we got clips of Matt Sydal facing Petey Williams in Toronto, as well as Moose and Alberto El Patron in Las Vegas, where you have Patron winning his match, and you have Matt Sydal winning his match, and Matt Sydal will challenge for the X Division title on March 8th. So you have all that to look forward to. Plus you have this Jimmy Jacobs and Congo Kong thing with Abyss, which ends up with, I believe, Congo Kong taking on Joseph Park sometime in the near future, and poor Grandma Jenny is just scarred for life, basically.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I was really hoping more with the Grandma Jenny stuff. I was really hoping that, Jimmy Jacobs, the princess, would have done something to her, like shoved her down or something to really piss off Joseph Parks. All it took was words to get Parks to kind of go off a little bit, but I would have liked to see more interaction. I'm still not really caring a lot about that. I hate to say it. I'm still not interested. I think they're really trying to get us interested, Paul. I personally just am not really down with this whole thing. So,
I agree with you. They haven't really done a lot to tie you into this. I think, my favorite part was Chandler Park, and he's not here anymore. He got beat up and has not been on TV a lot recently. So, it's sort of all flown out the window, and we're basically building up to Congo Kong and Abyss at some point, whether it's at Redemption and a Monsters Ball or whatever. I'm not super psyched about it, if this was me 10 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe, because I used to be a pretty big Abyss fan, but now it's past played out, right? We're beating a dead horse almost at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right for sure. So let's just hope in the near future they kind of let that horse die. And really quickly about the Patron and Moose match, I think that was a decent match. I really thought it was, pretty well done. I know they kind of had a lot of outside interaction outside of the ring. But the setting was fun because it was a casino, and I thought it really kind of brought some extra flair to that match. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have cared if it was in the Impact Zone. And the one thing I'll say about the Sydal match, it was good for what it was as well. They did a good job. I really like both those guys. Petey Williams is Petey Williams, right? He's a great performer. Sydal winning is not a surprise. But I'm just going to be honest. I'm just not a Sydal fan. I think he's a great wrestler. He's got a lot of athleticism, can do a lot of things. I just do not like this, let's just be honest, his microphone work. And they have him read off this whole thing in the middle of the ring, and you could barely hear it. What awful audio. Come on. That's just god awful audio. For me personally, I think it's great that you're doing these shows and you're having all these guys wrestle around the world. But let's not make it out like they're actually just around the world and you use the same microphone as the promotion that can only afford a $50 mic. Let's actually use one of your Impact mics or something to do this. I'm sad to say that, but I just don't think it didn't help. It just did not help. And then Seidel talking to his guru or whatever he was talking to on the phone.
Spiritual advisor.
Spiritual advisor.
Mm-hmm.
It made me not like him even more. And there's nothing wrong. If you have a spiritual advisor out there, I'm cool with it, guys. I have no problem with it. I'm a big paranormal fan. I get all the stuff that you got going. I'm a spiritual person myself, but sorry, Matt Seidel doesn't do it for me. I like the hippie stuff when it comes to RVD, not Matt Seidel.
It's interesting. I will say that because now they're trying to add a different aspect to the character, which I certainly do appreciate. And you know, Seidel's ring work is incredible and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, Gary's right. This guy is not very good at the talking part. I thought this was, I mean, it's fine. It's all like it's written down for him. It's pretty easy. I mean, I think that's the whole reason they're doing this is so he can just straight up read his promos off a script and not get in trouble for it and not get called out on it. So, yeah, it's certainly an interesting angle just because I think you do have the, well, who is it sort of deal going on. But other than that, I don't know if it's really going to draw a lot of people to like liking this story or anything like that that's trying to tell with them.
The only way you're going to get people to like the story is if he, you know, before he hangs up the phone, he says, "Thank you, Daniel," and then hangs up the phone, and you can see on the screen Daniel Bryan just sitting there on the set of SmackDown with his cell phone to his ear, because that's all we usually see of Daniel Bryan. So, but anyway, yeah, I don't know. But that's it. You know, that's pretty much all I had to say about that. So that's Impact. I mean, not a terrible episode. We, of course, you know, still have to wait a little longer before we get the women's division stuff with Laurel Van Ness and
she's going to marry the title next week. Gary, what do you think?
Oh man, that's going to be very fun to see because usually marriages on any wrestling show don't work out very well.
Right. So how's the belt going to leave her at the altar? That's what I want to know.
What would be awesome if Vanguard 1 came down and took it away. But that can't happen. But I would have loved it if it could have happened.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be crazy. But you're right. We'll see something probably, hopefully entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that is Impact Wrestling. Of course, now we only have one thing left to do, Paul, and that is crown a Superstar of the Week.
Let's do it.
Superstar of the Week.
Read those names, Gary.
All right. Well, the first point we'll be handing out tonight is to a guy that I feel like well deserved it, and that's, well, none other than Buddy Murphy.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy. Coming out on 205 Live in sort of the last first round match for the Cruiserweight title tournament. Wins, I think puts on a spectacular performance on his part. He just had the sad draw of having to face Daivari, and Daivari is just not very exciting in his current role. I will say that much. But Buddy Murphy, I think, really came out and showed you something, and that's great. He was always my favorite part of the tag team.
Yeah, this guy is just so much, more entertaining, I guess, as a singles guy. And I don't know why all of a sudden I'm just really drawn, but I just think that he really showcased himself very well, like you said. And, I don't really hate Daivari. I just kind of feel bad for the guy. So I will say this. I think he really helped this whole situation, though, because I think both guys really worked well together in this matchup. And Murphy really proved he deserves to be there. And not only that, this guy could be doing some big things in the future. I don't know, but I feel like he could. So
yeah.
We got to give 2 points to Kevin Owens, though.
Yeah, KO, big win against Dolph Ziggler this week on SmackDown. Might not have been the cleanest of wins, but I think the action and all that was good enough to warrant this guy 2 points this week, Gary.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, he may not have won that match with the cleanest of fashions, but he still put on a heck of a performance, and really happy with what Kevin Owens is doing right now. We got to give 3 points to 3 guys who definitely showcased themselves very well, and that is the Young Bucks.
Yeah, Adam Page and the Young Bucks defending those 6-man titles. Once again, not a clean victory, but the action is incredible. And they do somehow retain those titles even after the big belt shot from Scorpio Sky there at the end to cause Bully Ray to come out. So good stuff, I think, all around on Ring of Honor this week, too.
Yeah, for sure. We got to give 4 points over to a guy that was the, almost call him the Iron Man, the hour and 47-minute man himself, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I mean, sets multiple records for the match. The match itself sets multiple records. And it's not 5 points, which is incredible. But Seth Rollins beats Roman Reigns and John Cena clean as a sheet, Gary, to start us off on Raw this week. Boy, I mean, and just the performance this guy put into was incredible. Certainly one of the best we might have seen all year.
Yeah, for sure. And he lasted how long in that match? Was it a...
I'm pretty sure it was almost an hour.
It was almost an hour, yeah. Man, it's just amazing to go that long and at that high energy. Wow. So definitely, you're right. It's not 5 points, but he very well could have got it. But there was somebody else on our list that we had to give those 5 points to, and someone that, I mean, really, really, you have to say deserved it, and that is Cien Almas.
Yeah, successfully defends the NXT Championship as well. Once again, not a clean win. Of course, you have Mr. Ciampa coming in and showing his head once again to send Mr. Gargano packing. But Almas is still your champion. He wins the match. He gets the 5 points. And of course, Almas and Gargano, do I really need to say the match is incredible? Because it's basically just a given at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And let's be honest, it was a coin toss between Almas and Rollins. It really, really was. We debated this a little bit, but I mean, this was for a title. It was something that was very important. It also got Gargano kicked off in NXT. So I think, that's why we're giving Almas the nod here for the importance of the match and what it all meant. But yeah, I mean, what an amazing performance once again. Well, there you go. So congratulations, Andrea Cien Almas, you are our superstar of the week. Well, guys, that, of course, also ends our show for the week. We've had so much fun. We've had a lot of great things to talk about. Sean, Paul, and myself loved doing this show, and all the things we talked about was just so much fun. But we're going to do it all again next week. And don't forget, once again, I mentioned it earlier in the show, but post Elimination Chamber, we're going to have a review show. Do not miss it. If you're going to be around Monday morning, get on the W2M network and find us. Make sure you listen to that show because we're going to give you everything that we thought about Elimination Chamber. However you find it, make sure you do it. Also, don't forget we'll be bringing episodes part 1 and part 2 of episode 288. That's right. We are bringing that to you hot and fresh next week, along with all the other great review shows we do weekly. And to find all those shows, W2Mnet.com. Yep, that's right. Once again, the place to go. Also, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review over at Wrestling to the Max or the W2M Network. Whatever one you choose, go do that now. FormalOneMania.com and LastWordOnProWrestling.com. Both are great partners in crime of ours, and we appreciate them. So go support them, guys. And I think that's pretty much it for all the plugs. Once again, I love doing this show and hope that you guys enjoyed our new format. Hopefully, it was something that you thoroughly enjoyed and it didn't bog you down with the things that really don't matter. That's what we were kind of going for here tonight. And hopefully going forward, this is something that you guys will give us some great feedback on, and we appreciate everything you guys have to share with us. So until next time, guys, if you're not living life to the max,
you're not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace.
The previous podcast is a W2Mnet.com original podcast. For more great content like this, go to W2Mnet.com. For the worlds of wrestling, video games, entertainment, and sports.